And welcome back to Umbraco Community Day. And this time, we're excited to bring on our first panel guests of the day. Can we please welcome Paul Seal, Marcin Zajkowski, and Eleftheria Batsou. Hey, everybody.
Hello,
Hello.
everyone. Can you hear us?
Well,
How are you doing
you.
there?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
The
Really
wonders
nice
of
you.
technology, amazing. Great to see you all, and thanks for joining. Maybe we can go along the line and just say hi. You can introduce yourselves and say where you're calling from, because I know we've got a few different locations here as well. Maybe we'll start with Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul Seal. I'm Umbraco Tech Lead in. I work from home. I'm in Derby in the UK, but I work for a London-based company.
Fantastic.
Called ClerksWell.
Yeah, got to get that in there. And you didn't mention you're from codeshare.co.uk and Paul Seal on YouTube.
Oh yeah, from CodeShare. Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
This is all about personal branding, Paul. Come on.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, sorry. I do struggle with it as well. I know it might seem like I don't, but yeah. Yeah, Paul Seal from codeshare.co.uk. I've got a YouTube channel, and I don't know. I used to be on Twitter, but not anymore.
Fantastic. Elef, maybe you next.
Yeah, hi, I'm Eleftheria. I am from Greece and I'm a community manager at Crab Nebula. And I heard you guys speaking in the morning about the Umbraco t-shirt. So I don't know if you can see it, but I have this from 2018.
Amazing.
And I thought to wear it today.
Amazing. We'll get into your story in a bit, Elef, because there's a really exciting background to that t-shirt, I think. And Marcin, hey Marcin.
Hey, my name is Marcin Zajkowski. I'm calling in from Poland. I'm a country manager, CTO, and solution architect in the company called Novicell. I'm working with Umbraco since 2018, and I'm also one of the coffee baristas with you, Callum, for Umbraco Coffee, doing a lot of talks, public speaking, YouTube live streams. I wrote a book about social media for busy programmers, and I did a lot of the activities back in the past, less unfortunately recently. But personal branding and Umbraco are both topics close to my heart.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we have the three of you here, because I'd like to say that the three of you have quite big personal brands, and that's sort of what we like to dive into: the why, the how, and just how important it might be. Elef, we said we'd talk about your T-shirt. Let's start there. You don't work with Umbraco day to day. You previously to Crab Nebula, you were at Hashnode, I believe.
Yeah.
As a community manager too. But also not doing Umbraco. So can you tell us, what's your journey here?
Okay, so my journey, at first it will sound a bit random, but I will tell you exactly how it went. So in 2017, late 2017, I was just starting my coding career. I had graduated from the university. I was looking for a job. I studied computer science, but the things were a bit hard for me. So I said, okay, I will sit home. I will do the challenge 100 days of code. And at the same time, I will go on Twitter. I will start tweeting there and writing about what I'm doing. I will start doing projects. I will talk about my projects on social media, mainly on Twitter. That's what I was using at that time. And by the way, I'm going to call it Twitter, not X. When I was doing that, I also started to writing some articles about the projects that I was doing, and I was publishing those articles in Medium and in other platforms. By the end of this challenge, I also wrote another article talking about what I did in this challenge, because people had started to approach me mainly on Twitter and said, okay, what did you do in the challenge? I want to do something similar. How did you find your inspiration to do that for 100 days and stuff like that? So I wrote an article explaining all those things. And then someone from your community read that article and invited me to speak at that conference. It was the first time that I was going to a conference, and I was going as a speaker. I was quite shy. I think that I still am. But all of you mentioned in the community that you are very, very friendly. And as soon as I got there, you were friendly and that helped me a lot with my first talk, but also it gave me a huge push on continue doing what I was doing, which was basically building a brand. At that time, I hadn't realized that, but I kept working on social media, I kept working on writing blogs. I started using YouTube, I was creating videos and all those kind of things. And that's how I got that t-shirt on 2018, I think.
Fantastic. I remember that talk distinctly. You were in the garden stage with the kind of the wood chips outside, and it was in that gazebo space at Co-Garden. It was a very good year that year, and I'm glad you've got the t-shirt to keep that memory alive. An awesome story there. Paul, let's talk about your journey with Umbraco, because your YouTube channel and your website predates your work with Umbraco, doesn't it?
Yeah, so basically I was working in a company and near to me I was in the days when you had to travel to work, and I was a .NET developer, and one of the CMSs, we ended up picking Umbraco as our CMS, but we used to do we had our own in-house CMS, and I just found that I was wanting to, when I learned something, I wanted to share it, and I would try and share it with my colleagues, but I found that maybe some of my colleagues weren't that bothered about it, sort of thing. A lot of people that I've encountered over the years, some people want to hold on to their knowledge and not share it because they see that this gives them an advantage and an edge over other people. I'm not saying that was exactly like that there, but I have worked in other places. But I was like wanting to share this knowledge and feeling like it wasn't that well received or bothered about. So I thought, well, maybe what I could do is I could create a blog. And this was at the time as well when I was learning about having a personal brand, because I've always been quite ambitious. And so I thought, well, if I have a personal brand and I really want to share, I'm passionate about what I'm doing, then I can have this website. The posts that I'm writing, it's got my time and effort put into it because I really care about this, sharing it. And they say when you write it down, and try and teach others, that's when you really learn it. So it was at the same time that I was trying to learn more about .NET and Umbraco and things like that. So I was writing more and more posts and sharing that and getting feedback from people as well. That's one of my favorite parts of sharing the knowledge, is other people will comment on it. Say if you shared it on LinkedIn in one of the groups that I used to go in quite a lot, people will comment and say, well, you do know that you could do it a way better way. So again, I'm learning more on that. But yeah, the main thing for me is about creating a professional reputation. It's what you are known for. It's a perception that you can, of others that they have of you, so that in the future, if you do want to go for a job somewhere else, it's an amazing feeling if they already knew who you were before you even applied. And it might mean you don't even need to do a technical test or something like that, because they know that what you can do. You've made YouTube videos, you've shown them you can know how to build a website, and they've read your blog posts. So that's one of the benefits of having a personal brand. But the main thing for me was just about the sharing the knowledge, and it's a way of paying it forward, and then it's come back to help me in my career as well.
Fantastic. You're definitely getting into the meat of the topic there, Paul. We'll come back to that in a second, because I don't lose those thoughts. Marcin, okay. Umbra Coffee, Busy Programmer's Guide. Tell us a bit about that. What's the inception of those things and other stuff you've done?
Yeah, I think that to start the journey, I was also kind of very introvert, and I'm still am a very introvert, as same as Eleftheria said. But for me, the most natural part and unwanted part of doing what I do right now was that I was always eager to share what I've learned, because I thought that maybe someone else will learn it faster, maybe I will help someone else, and that's how I joined the first meetup during my studies. It was also pre-Umbraco days, and that's where I shared how I learned how to build a mobile application using some kind of old framework called Sencha, maybe for some old dinosaurs here. So I was sharing my knowledge. Then I was sharing my knowledge with Microsoft teams that were promoting Umbraco back in the day. So that's how I started learning Umbraco. And if I was learning, I was also sharing what I've learned and what I have done. And that's how it all started for me in the community. I joined some of the events in UK. That was these were my first events in 2015 or 2016, if I'm correct. And I shared what I've built. That was my first interaction with the community. I shared one of the packages that I've done. And then the journey started for me. And I think the most important thing from the personal branding perspective for me is that it came completely natural for me. I'm not thinking about doing a personal branding. And I think that's exactly what also you guys said, that it was like you were doing it, but you were thinking the results came after your activity, not because of your activity. And I think that this was important for me. Same with the busy programmer. The idea was that we were all busy by a choice of doing a lot of the things. And then I realized that maybe sharing how to deal with this busyness around us would help other people to understand that maybe this is the way for them, or maybe this is not the way for them. And both of these amazing people also wrote a small appendix of their journey, how they dealt with the activities and how it helped them to be where they are. So yeah, I think this was a natural journey, and I right now I feel a little bit FOMO of not doing it, but I think this is also coming usually with a purpose in mind, right? And as Paul mentioned, in this case, it was like, okay, he wanted to build a personal branding because it would help him to be seen as a professional, or maybe it will validate already some of the knowledge up front. It also did help me because I also didn't need to pass a lot of technical challenges and interviews, because the proofs were all over and people knew what I was doing. So I think it's where it led me now. I think that we can all relate to that, but it could be a natural thing for everyone to just feel the need of sharing, I would say. And then the mediums follows. It can be Twitter, it can be X, it can be YouTube, it can be Twitch, Vimeo, whatever. But the natural need of being who we are and being natural in it, because what is also important is to mention that there are a lot of people who are doing this for building personal brands, but doing it without proof behind the scenes of what they are doing. And there were a lot of cases which I found in the internet where people were sharing things that they didn't know, and at the end of the day it all will be verified, the truth will be there. So staying here true with Umbraco community, doing what we do is making me happy, and that's what I enjoy on the day basis.
That's good. So it's not like you're, chasing after the next big thing. You're not doing crypto, then AI, then whatever. You're, focused on the thing that makes you happy, and doing that as best you can, and building your reputation around that. If that's Umbraco or something otherwise, that's great. Every single one of you touched on social media there, and I wanted to talk about that because the social media landscape's changed quite a lot, let's say, in the last 12 months. I know that, Marcin, you've got a long history with Twitter where you lost your account and had to start from scratch. I know that, Paul, you've been on YouTube for a very long time, and that's been a big focus for yours, but also you've been on Twitter as well. Elef, I think, is it over 30,000 Twitter followers you have? You have a very large number, at least, or something close to that number.
Yeah. I'm nearly 50, so yeah.
So you say 50? 50?
50K, yeah.
50K.
Yeah.
See, I remember when I first met you and you had about 4,000. And the 100 days of code hashtag used to be a great way of finding and connecting with people. But obviously you're in those, since 2018, those 5 years, your personal brand has skyrocketed to the point where you've got that 50K reach on Twitter. But yeah, an open question for the group. What do we think about social media now? Does it, where it has played an important part of your journey so far, does it need to going forward? How are you approaching that? I guess, Elef, again, from your experience at Hashnode, like how does alternative platforms like Hashnode and the Dev2 community and those sorts of things, Medium you mentioned as well, how does that play into all of this picture? Open question. Don't know who it's for. Whoever wants to take it, just go.
Yeah, if you want, I can start.
Yeah.
So I think that for me, social media and especially Twitter played a huge role. But it was not only that, as you mentioned, it was other things like the blogging platforms, Medium, Dev2, Hashnode. Those things helped me a lot because on Twitter, I could only write a few sentences. Then the good thing with Twitter was that I could link another source, like an article that I wrote or later a video that I created. And yeah, I found that super helpful. And also sometimes people ask me, okay, so should I stay to one platform like Medium, or should I use Hashnote and Dev2 and the other blogging platforms as well? And I usually say that it's better to use all those platforms since you're going to write an article, because different people, different audience use different platforms, and you don't know where you will find your people, you don't know where you will find your community. So since you wrote that article, it's not a big deal to just copy paste the same article in the same sources. And if you're afraid about Google and messing up the correct URL, you can use the canonical URL, so you don't have to worry about SEO problems.
Nice. So the message there really is be on all the social media, is what you said.
Mm-hmm.
I can take it from there, because to be fair, I probably spent 3+ years studying all of the social media platforms when I was writing this small book, and I think that for me it was always a platform, communication platform. And what is important to know is like that on the other side there are people, and it's all about these people who are consuming the content whenever it is posted. And the social media can change. The Twitter can transition into X. Other platforms can be better. And this is what made me fall in love with Instagram back in the days, because on Instagram I could share an image, I could share a text, a long text, because the description was not very limited when it comes to the amount of content. And then they started with the stories, so it was more like a human centric interactions and live streams of things, and that was beautiful at the beginning. But of course it turned into a machine of sharing things that might be or might not be that very relevant for people to consume. But that's also why I think it's important to diversify. And I agree with Eleftheria that it's important to be wherever we can be, because there are some tools that can automate these posts to be shared amongst all of the platforms. For example, right now LinkedIn is my favorite platform where I post a lot of the content, because I see how the content reaches the people who maybe are more in area of my interest of business instead of Twitter or Instagram in this particular point of my life. But it can be automated, it can be simplified, but there needs to be a purpose in it behind the scenes. And we need to understand that on every platform there are people until they are not there. We can remember some application called Threads. Anyone is using Threads? Some of the other applications that were gaining followers and people and users rapidly. So it's for me, and I mentioned it multiple times for people around me, that emails, even though I'm the biggest hater of email communication, and probably some of you know it, emails are still the best relation between two parties, because they are the direct line between us, and they are independent source of truth. Because if Facebook will change the algorithms, Twitter will change, or X will change the algorithms, Instagram will die, or whatever else will happen, the emails will stay there. And if I lost my Twitter account, I still had access to my email, for example, right? So this kind of things can help. But the social media are not only about the platforms, but mainly about the people who are consuming this social media via these platforms.
That's a great point. Yeah. You'll see even today, you'll be receiving 3 or 4 emails from us throughout the day for anyone that registered for this event, because it's our most effective way of reminding you of when something awesome's coming up, or how to go and catch up on stuff. Otherwise, if we put it on Twitter, we then have to do it on LinkedIn, Mastodon, Blue Sky, everywhere else as well. It's much harder. Email is the one source of truth, like you say, Marcin. Yeah, it's really interesting. You mentioned LinkedIn there as well. I agree. I think people have been sleeping on LinkedIn. People think it's this boring corporate network with a lot of recruiters that are going to harass you and try and get you to take a junior software development role or something. But it's absolutely not the case. It's a targeted network now with a lot of good content sharing going on there. So yeah, great points there. Paul, you're unlike maybe the rest of us, you've focused a lot on YouTube and your blog. So maybe you can share a bit about your thoughts on the social media landscape.
Yeah, when I first started my blog, and I was trying to, I was checking the stats, like when you've got a blog, and how many views did I get? And I used to always look at Google Analytics and everything like that. I would share it, and I learned about LinkedIn groups, and there were some groups with 300,000 members at the time, maybe even more, but they're specific around the topic. So I think that's a great one. Now that LinkedIn is, the focus has shifted back to LinkedIn, since all the other platforms, I don't feel they do what Twitter does anymore. But So yeah, I'd recommend trying to look in these groups and share those. I also some posts that went like semi-viral or whatever, I put on Hacker News and like I posted it on there, and then that gets attention and everything, and that gets read by more people, and all of a sudden lots of people are reading your article, and that helps boost Google's search algorithm if lots of people are coming to your site.
Hacker News is a very brave place to be posting, Paul. It can be quite an interesting place. A lot, even a pylon. But well, there's always a pylon happening on Hacker News somewhere. But if your stuff goes down well on there, you'll be doing very, very well.
I did have 1 or 2 good posts that went down well on there. One was about your 10 golden rules for becoming a better programmer, and one was about how I hacked Troy Hunt's site to remove my personal data. And so it's the sort of titles that got people into it and reading it. But yeah, they're definitely good ideas to share, especially on the LinkedIn groups, I think.
Yeah, fantastic.
And one other thing about my website. So I do post videos. I'm not as regular as I should be, but I think if you on YouTube, if you try and like do one every week or something like that, if you can just put an update, even the YouTube shorts, I quite like the idea of YouTube shorts. I want to do some Wes Boss style YouTube shorts videos where you've got you at the top and you've got your code or whatever you want to share and talk about, just like a minute or 2. I think that would be good. And with my website, because of all these problems with Twitter and everything like that, I've created a dev diary on my website so that I own my little micro blog. So they're not big enough for a blog post, but just so there's an update, just because I used to like to put an update all the time on Twitter and everything. So now I'll put it on there so that if I want to look back, sometimes I do look back. Maybe I want to see what I've done this year or anything like that, or people want to catch up with what I'm doing, not necessarily have to find me on a social media platform. They can just, because I always say my website after my name on the videos, they know to go there.
It's in my head, Paul. It's Paul Seal from CoachEd.co.uk. It's quite incredible. You've done very well there for your personal branding. I was going to ask, we've spoken about a lot of the different things that all of you have been doing to build your brand, 100 days of code, writing ebooks, writing blogs, and doing YouTube videos, for just some examples. That all sounds like a lot of work, but does it have to be? How much work do you need to put into your personal brand? Are you going to just suddenly do a blog post and be an overnight success and suddenly have a personal brand? Like, where's the line here?
I can't see everyone else. Is it all right if I go? So I used to do my videos on my dinner hour. So like I just did it as I felt like it. I would do the next video, and I would put it out, or I would write my blog post, and I would just use my lunch hour to do that, just because I was passionate about it. I was interested, and I didn't want to wait. Some people say, "Oh, wait till the same day every week." Oh, I can't wait. I just have to do it there and then. I have to
Tuesday
just
morning
publish it.
being the optimal time to post something for engagement. I was like, no one cares.
Yeah,
just post it.
No, it's ready. I'm just going to post it. But yeah, just a bit of consistency, I think. Just keep going. Just do more and more consistency. But like maybe not on the same. If you can't just do the same day, just be around, be active, and I think as long as your intentions are good and what you're sharing has good value, like what Marcin was saying, then I think you'll get the rewards.
I can say next. I think it can take a lot of time, but it's a decision. And my example, that my ebook took me 3 years to write, but it was various reasons why it took that long. Of course, I was not sitting there and writing it for 3 years constantly, but there were various things in between. But consistency is one of the keys, and I always said that done is better than perfect. So when we are blogging, it's better to write and copy paste the piece of the code and share it instead of thinking about writing a poem about this code or writing a whole story, why and how it got born. Of course, it can be the way of approaching, it can be the unique way of sharing this content, but it can be on the 100th blog post, not on the first one. And it's really hard to stop doing things before we even start doing them. That's something what I felt multiple times on, because I thought about YouTube things various times, even before we started this live streams, right, Callum? So it was like, okay, I need to do it. I need to do it. Then I need to buy a camera. I need to buy a lighting. I need to buy this things and that things. When in reality, it turns out that no one cares about it, and we can start doing videos straight from our laptops or our phones, and it will be the same value at the beginning. And when we will need to have high quality, then we can invest and we can enhance. So I would say that starting is the most important part, then staying consistent, because even Walt Disney story shows that, you know, not all of the movies needs to be a great success, and every video can go viral, but you don't know which one will. Every blog post can be useful, but you don't know which one. One can help for one person, one can help for thousands, and that's something what we cannot predict, and there are no algorithms yet for doing that. And same with the social media platforms. Something can be shared, something cannot be shared. There can be tweaks and tests, but we cannot be prepared for that. So I would say start doing with the less amount of efforts. It of course requires investments of time. It cannot be done by someone else for us, ideal, because still our personal brand or our presence in the web is our presence in the web. And I know a couple of people who tried to outsource it. It doesn't work well, and it needs to be us. So it depends from us how much time we will dedicate to that. But the more, the better. But it doesn't need to be a lot.
Yeah, and if I may add to that, of course, I absolutely agree. I would say that building a personal brand is quite time-consuming, and especially when you're starting. And things like social media can be a little bit faster, but at least for me, writing an article or creating a video, it took me a lot of time. Again, I agree that you don't need the best equipment, just start doing it. That's what I did, and it helped me a lot. But something else that helped me, especially for social media, is that sometimes I have more free time, so I will create some content and then schedule it for later. I don't want to spam people with my crazy ideas overnight. So that's what I do, and again, I think it's something very helpful.
That's a fantastic point. I'm also a religious scheduler of things like that. So yeah, I completely agree. We have just less than a minute left, so maybe very quickly, any parting words from any of you? You've mentioned value of building a personal brand for your employers. Any words of encouragement for people that are wishing to go do the same, and what value they might see?
Yeah, I love it when I see other people creating video tutorials and things like that. I think Roy Berris, I've seen some of his videos. I think he's just started out on YouTube, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he produces. I just think people should just take the plunge and put themselves out there.
Great words
I
of
would
advice.
also give a short advice and homework for everyone who wants to do and start doing something. Reach out to one person who you admire in the web and drop them a direct message on platform of your choice with the words of appreciations and some question. Something what bothers you, something what you want to know. Just ask them this question, and you will be surprised how many of them will just reply and guide you through the wild journey of social presence. That would be
and of
my
course,
advice.
go and download the Busy Programmer's Guide to Social media.
Of course, I will give you a discount if you want to.
Absolutely. Link down below. Elef, any final words?
Yeah, I would just say that even if you are a beginner, don't be afraid to share what are you doing, either via blogs or YouTube videos, because you have your own unique style, and maybe there is similar content out there, but your style is unique, and that style maybe help another beginner. So yeah, just do it.
Fantastic inspirational words from the three of you. Paul, Elef, Marcin, thank you so much. That's it for this panel. Time's flown by, but we'll be back with our next session in a second. See you in a bit.